welcome back to the Crappie channel. On this episode, we're going to cover everything that you need in a tackle box to be able to land you a fish just like this. So stay tuned. I'm your brother UZL.
Hey, I'm Ezra.
Alright, in this episode we're going to talk about what you need in a tackle box to get you a fish. When times get hard,
right,
you're not going to be able to go to the supermarket and get fish. We're going to prepare you and show you everything that you're going to need to be able to get you a fish, right? With in this episode we're talking about freshwater, like you see behind me, a small pond, lake, or streams, right, things like that, right? So we're talking about freshwater. We'll cover saltwater in another episode, and then everything you see here, we're going to have videos that go in depth and show you exactly how to use it. But this video is to show you what to do or what to get to put in your tackle box to be ready to go out there, fish, provide dinner for your family. Go ahead.
All right, so we have each category set up. We have everything set up in different kind of categories. So like you mentioned, just freshwater. And we're gonna go with brim, which are your smaller fish, about the size of your hand, all the way up into largemouth bass. In between there, you have different type of bass like crappie. Those bass, we also have a couple rigs that we're going to show you as well. So starting with brim, anything that's small, you're going to want to use smaller hooks. So the rule of thumb is a smaller fish, obviously a smaller hook. Whatever fits in a fish mouth, it will eat. So these smaller hooks right here, you can get all this that you see here, you can get at Walmart. So these, you can get an assortment of small hooks like so. All you do is just twist it. It'll go from larger to smaller. Now, with those hooks, some type of fishing line, nothing real thick. Everybody always thinks, you know, I want the heavier line, the thicker line. Mm-hmm. In this case, freshwater, you're not catching monster fish the size of the table, the size of one of us. So anything 15 pounds or less, preferably if you can only get one. And mostly what we're going to cover today is bare minimum, right? This is not the very expensive stuff, nor the very cheapest stuff. So 100% fluorocarbon line, fluorocarbon line does become invisible as it touches and goes into the water. So that's very important. You don't want the fish to see that it's a trap. You want the fish just to see the actual food. Right. So fluorocarbon line is very important to match it up with that those hooks.
All right, and of course, with that, you're gonna need weights to be able to throw the bait, live worm in this instance. You're gonna need weight, and these are called split shots. You just singe them down to the line. You got weight. You're able to throw it and suspend the bait in the right water column or the right water depth for your fish. And also on top of that, you're gonna need some bobbers, a packet of bobbers. It's an indication of, hey, I got a fish, right? And also you can control how far your bait suspends in the water, right, with the bobbers. All right, so get you a packet of bobber, Walmart. All right, get you these at Walmart.
All right, so next we go into, and that's very simple. I mean, in order to catch something just to put on the plate, something small, pan size, that's what, panfish, something small like your hand that's perfect for frying up or whatever, however you want to make it. That's the basic right there, right, we just went over. Mm-hmm. Next we'll go into something like a little bit larger crappie fish or crappie bass. That's when you go into small little jigs or swim baits like this. This is actually a jig head with the hook and the actual swim bait already on there. So what they would look without the hook is something like this. And these are like crappie killers. They love these little things. They come in assortments. We only have a couple different colors here, but they come in different assortments of all the colors, you know what I mean? So whenever you're throwing that out there, say you find some crappie, and you find, normally they swim in schools and in holes. Once you find that hole or that school, you just throw whichever color that they like. You just go through, go through them, and eventually they'll start hitting it. As soon as it hits the water.
Yeah.
And once you find that color, you're in there.
Yeah. It'll be like a feeding frenzy.
Right.
So this that'll cover your crappie right there. These, like the brother said, these are called jigs, right? They come like this. Or another good one for crappies is crickets.
Right.
Yeah, and the bluegills, brown bluegill, red breast, they'll eat the crickets too. Crickets, slapworm, these are what you're gonna want. All right, and when times get rough, you know, we can hear crickets right now, right? So you can go outside, get you some crickets, put it on the hook, like we're gonna show you, throw it out there, boom, you got your food, you got dinner for the family.
Right.
All right. Now, moving on to bass, which is what most people will call finesse fishing, right? Meaning you have to make your bait look alive. You got to finesse them so you can get you a bite. And the most common thing you're gonna see us use is gonna be some type of plastic worm, right? And we have various different colors here, shapes, sizes, but what we're commonly gonna use is gonna be the black worm, right? Whether you know where you're going, where you're not going, if you're familiar with the water or you're not, if you're having a hard time getting bites, you throw this out there, you're going to land you a fish. You throw this black worm, it's gonna happen eventually.
It's like the miracle bait for bass.
Right. So that's what we're gonna commonly use. It's gonna be some type of black worm, and they're cheap. You can get you a whole pack, right? You can get you a whole pack, throw it in your bag. Of course, hooks. And as you can see, there's hooks that come with weights already on it, right? We'll touch on that. But they also have individual weights. That's called bullet weight, and that's the setup you have right here.
Right. So to set up one of these trick worms or soft plastic worms, what they're called, very simple. Every worm has an indicator to show what's the top and what's the bottom, whether they have paddles at the bottom, tails like this, or just straight worm like so. You can tell which side is the bottom and which side is the front and the tail. So using the hooks that he showed, which are worm hooks, make sure that they say soft plastic worm hooks on it, and the reason for it is because each one of those hooks, let me see here, each one of these hooks have a kind of like a gooseneck here at the end, and that's what's gonna hold the face or the front of your worm up, so it doesn't, when it hits the water, it doesn't just slide off your hook. So using, let's use one of these here. We'll use this big one here. So I have it already set up on my pole here, and it's very simple. These bullet weights here, they're called bullet weights. They actually look like a little bullet head, right? So you'll slip the bullet weight on your line first, small end first, and that's gonna be suspended freely. Then you're gonna tie your hook, tie your worm hook, right? Now with the face of the actual, let me get some line here, let me get some slack. With the face of the actual, from the top, you're gonna face it towards the point of the hook, right? So when you do hook it, you're gonna go straight into the hook. Now every one of the hooks obviously is gonna have like a J or like a point where it starts to bend. That face, you're gonna, once you get towards that part where it starts to bend, that's when you pop out the actual worm. So it's gonna look like this. You're gonna push it all the way to the end, right around that little gooseneck like I was saying, and it'll be stuck right there at the top, right before it gets to the actual line. Now you'll be left with the hook just out, your worm like this. What you do is you want it to be you want this hook to be buried into the worm, so that way it becomes weedless, meaning that when you throw it in the water, no weeds or sticks or twigs are going to get caught on that hook. So what you'll do is just slightly, you'll measure it to see where it's sitting straight like this, and then you'll slightly bend it and poke it and bury it straight in there. So now you get this here, right? It's weedless, the hook's not hooking anything. Perfect. Now once you put it all together, you get something like this. You have the weight to drive the weight. What the weight's going to do is going to drive the bait down into the water, to the bottom of the water. This tail is going to do its magic, work its magic, and it's going to land down at the bottom. Every time you pop the pole up, it's going to do the same movement. And that right there is, you'll get a strike from a bass or a largemouth bass every time, especially with one of these black worms.
Yeah, definitely.
Another one on the black worm. When in doubt, throw this black worm, Texas rig, and you're gonna get answers.
Also, the next thing you're gonna want to have is a what they call these crankbaits, swim baits, right?
Right.
You're gonna want to have one of these, preferably one that looks like the bait fish that's hatching in that water. So in the area that we're in, bluegills, bass go after bluegill. So this is a setup we'll throw on the fishing pole. Little bluegill, whether it have a lip or not, it'll be something that looks like this. Throw it out there, get you a fish. And the next thing will be chatterbait, right? You throw this out there when the water's murky, it's windy outside, or you just want to switch it up. You're not having luck with the worms, with the swim bait,
right?
Nothing's working. Throw this out there. It creates a lot of chatter. It brings a lot of light and reflection in the water, and it brings, it draws attention to itself, and you might land you a fish with this as well. To organize all of this, you're gonna need you a Plano box. What this does, it organizes your things, keep it nice and neat, and this is a plain one, right? There is more expensive ones that you can get into that have a seal around it, and you're gonna want one of those too.
Yeah, here's an example of one of those that have the rubber seal, and really you're gonna want some of these to start off. Most tackle boxes come with those generic ones, but you want one of these with the seal so no water gets in for your terminal tackle. And terminal tackle is your very most important stuff. And without this, hooks, weights, sinkers, you're not able to fish at all. So that's why we call it terminal tackle. It'll keep it all dry, because these are metal, water touches them, and guess what? They start to rust. Right. You don't catch a fish.
Yeah, and of course, you're gonna need something to put all of these in. And like we say, you can get you something like this at Walmart.
Right.
It don't have to be expensive, just something that'll fit everything that you need, right? Nice little bag, put all your stuff in, boom. Put this right next to your go bag, you're ready to go.
The last thing before we close out is it's very important to have you something that can actually remove the hooks or actually cut your lines, right? Because every so often you'll get a fish where it'll swallow the entire hook. Well, you gotta, for some way, somehow you have to get out of there. So they sell these also at Walmart. There's a small needle nose with a line snipper. They're very essential, very important.
Also, if you feel some type of way about handling fish,
yeah, some people don't like to touch.
Some people don't like to touch the sliminess, the texture creeps you out. You can get you a grip right here.
Quick demonstration to show you. You open it up just like that, put it in past his jawline, and just clamp it. And now the fish cannot get away from that. So in that instance, if you pull your fish up close to the shore with your line, you just pop this in their mouth, grab it, grab your pliers, pull the hook out, you never touch the fish. Those are for those of you that don't want to touch the fish.
So with everything that we showed you here, you're guaranteed if you applied them like we're gonna show in later videos, you applied them, you're gonna catch you a fish. All right, and don't worry, this is just a video to show you what you need to get. We're gonna show you how to use everything so you're proficient with this stuff. All right.
Right.
I know I talk to a lot of people, they talk about fishing and I ask them what do they use. My brother once told me he used corn. You know, you might get lucky here and there, but
Right.
you want to be proficient at this stuff when things go left. All right. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more.